were carving up the region.
Kuwait, that was created by the Brits.
Kuwait, because Kuwait was stealing their oil, all sorts of other things that went on at the time. And they sought approval from the U.S. They got it in the sense that they were told through the ambassador, April Glaspie, that the U.S. would have no fault with what was proposed because that would be a matter between Arab states. But the British got hold of George Bush Sr., and there was a sudden change. In a Rose Garden meeting, boom, now it became Saddam must get out of Kuwait. Okay. What Saddam asked for that? Would the U.S. object? Okay. Okay, so after many days of whatever they did, bombing, shock and awe, all sorts of stuff, the Iraqi forces were going to retreat out of Kuwait, and they started their retreat. The convoy of soldiers returning to Baghdad was blocked by aircraft that shot up the lead of the convoy. They shot up the rear of the convoy, and then they proceeded to massacre. And they massacred over 10,000 people. It's not a incident that's very well recorded. But it was on. I saw the pictures of the burned bodies in the tanks and all this business. Tim McVeigh was on the burial detail for those 10,000 people. They bulldozed in the sand. They pushed all the bodies, the burned bodies, into the hole.
Bloody murder.
Many of his compatriots on that burial detail sought psychiatric help. You know, because PTSD, traumatizing action, burying bodies by the ton. Tim McVeigh didn't do that.
Bloody murder.
But he finished his tour. He came back to the U.S., and he heard from many sources who the enemy was. He just came from this traumatizing event with the enemy. But he heard the enemy was big government, and he heard it from people in the administration. He heard it from the likes of J.D. Goody, whatever his name was, Liddy, who, you know, the guy who burned his finger with a candle to show how strong he was. So anyway, McVeigh's hearing that big government, and he went to Ruby Ridge, where government was acting on a man who had violated gun laws, and in trying to capture him, they killed his son and his wife. Okay, he saw that. Oh, and he's reflecting. The enemy is big government. And then it was discovered that Koresh and his following in Waco, Texas, the place where Trump, by the way, sought to open up his campaign. But anyway, it became known that there was something going on there, not good, and this guy, Koresh, had guns. And who in Texas doesn't have a gun? Well, anyway, whatever the immediate surroundings were, Tim McVeigh went there because it became a site of where big government was going to act on Koresh and the followers, the Branch Davidians, I think they were called. And he was there. It became a lot of right-wingers at that time. The right wing had not developed. The militia movement, all that, had not developed to the extent that it has over these perceived actions, not clearly understood, perhaps ill-advised, who knows what the case may be, lack of discussion, lack of transparency. And he saw the place burned down. He saw the tank. He saw the place destroyed. Focusing, thinking, big government is the enemy. And what does he do? He goes off and does Oklahoma City. Horrible thing. Horrible thing. But you see, there was a reason not an excuse, but there was a reason he got to the mindset that he got to. How did the people that followed Trump get to the mindset that they're in? And how do we get into a mindset that we accept because it's imposed upon us, but finally break out because we're beginning to pick up tidbits, bits and pieces, and we're beginning to research and study. And what should happen in response to that is that there should be open discussion by people who have as their agenda the well-being of the population of their country, while at the same time a sane way in which that they can impose that policy. It happens to be a matter of foreign interrelations. on some way other than the use of raw power concepts.
I gotta jump in here. We are so close to a